Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nativity Podcast. I am Father Ed Bresnahan.
And I'm Mary Castellano.
We are coming to you from Burke, Virginia, and we are so excited to be able to be here, to be able to start this new adventure. And we're going to air this pilot to kind of just get everything on board and get people with an idea of what it is that we've got coming down the pipeline. Are you excited, Mary?
I'm very excited, Father.
Yeah. You probably the best way to kind of maybe talk about it is just a little bit about why we even thought that this was a good thing to do in the first place. Look, let's be really honest. There are podcasts all over the airwaves, right? There's so much out there that finding something that's unique, that's kind of, in a world all its own, that's somewhat mildly entertaining, but also informative. And then let's also add in that we want something to be faith-filled and something spiritual that's going to help every person, no matter where you are, no matter what your walk of life is. You can maybe pick something up that you can take with you for your day, right? Mm-hmm. And that goal is so hard to find right now in the world of podcasting. So we thought, what's one area that hasn't really been touched in terms of what kind of content is out there? And it looks like there really isn't very much out there in terms of just a parish telling you what life in the parish is like. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of uniquely positioned for that because we're a really, really active parish. We do a lot of things, and each thing comes with different people, different characters, different ways of serving the Lord. And it's a pretty spectacular thing. And I thought it would be a really good thing to air maybe a series of episodes that sort of helps bring you, the listener, into the world of what goes on in a thriving and a busy parish. Mm-hmm. So we're bringing this to you in a series of episodes. We'll be interviewing people and kind of meeting with them and just kind of getting a sense of what life is like in Nativity in Burke, Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just want to help you enter into our Catholic Church and just get an idea, a little taste of our community. Like Father said, everything that's going on. I am personally not a parishioner. I work here. I'm an outsider. I actually live in Maryland, and when I was first introduced to Nativity Parish, I was just an assistant, kind of a hair step above intern for our youth ministry, just fresh out of college, and I was just blown away by the people, how active we are. And by active, I mean, we have a lot of opportunities. That's what I mean by active. We have a lot of ministry gatherings, ministry groupings. We have a lot of Bible studies. We have something for every single age group. And the type of service that we do is also widely varied. We have homeless ministry, we have prison ministry, we have overseas and across the street ministries. And so all of these things I've come to learn and respect and really admire as someone working behind the scenes. And I just really, really want to share the wonderful work that this parish does with the world in the best way possible. So that's another huge reason why Father and I chose to do this podcast, because what better way to share that good work than interview the people who are doing the good work.
That's a perfect way to put it. And also, I've only been here for about 4 months. So also a little bit feeling like an outsider, although both of us have kind of made ourselves at home here. We're very much, it's a very welcoming community and a community that really just embraces its people. So as we mentioned before, I am Father Bresnahan. I'm the assistant, the parochial vicar at the parish. And I've been a priest for about 11 years, having served in high school in Alexandria, Virginia. I've been down in Fredericksburg, and I've been in Clifton, Virginia. And now with this assignment, it's my 4th assignment that I've been here. I've been ordained for about 11 years. And really the journey to the priesthood has been just such a wonderful experience of God's grace. I think I couldn't really pinpoint a moment when maybe Morgan Freeman's voice kind of bursts through the clouds and tells me, my son, you will be be a priest, right? Like never had like that moment kind of happen to me. But definitely in the interaction that I had with, people as I was growing up through high school, through college, really got a sense that I needed to make prayer a priority in my life. I needed to avail myself of the sacraments of the Eucharist and confession a little bit regularly. And I needed to make the biggest decision that I needed to learn how to make was how to go from just simply knowing a lot of things about the church, because as you'll find out on the podcast, I am an insufferable know-it-all. I know all kinds of random bits of trivia and just stupid stuff, just everything. The kids in the school are always kind of baffled by the fact that I can help them as much with their math homework as I can with their theology. So it's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Like I try out for Jeopardy and stuff like that. So that's like kind of like my wheelhouse is like random bits of trivia and just stupid knowledge and all that stuff. So really being able to make the transition from that head knowledge of knowing what God wants, knowing things about God, to knowing me in the light of God the Father, right? And knowing God the Father and God the Son, and through the intercession, certainly of the Holy Spirit, being inspired by Him. So it really was like a big journey for me to kind of break myself of that sort of external surface area love of Catholicism and really something deep and abiding. And the minute that I did that, the times that I finally started to open up my heart in prayer and things like that, I really started to get a sense that God was calling me to this amazing mission, this partnership with Him, and to be one of His priests. So that's kind of in a nutshell my journey to the priesthood, and it's led me here, and really led me to this desire to share this part with you, to share my love of a parish and my love of this parish with you, so that you also can get a sense of what's going on. But Mary, you come from a very different background and story. How did you come even like to all of this?
Through Indeed.com.
The best. I love that.
This is not a sponsored ad. Yeah, like I said, I joined Nativity staff fresh out of college. I was a theology major at the Catholic University of America. I graduated in 2017. And I also graduated with a certificate in pastoral ministry. So that, credit-wise, it was basically a minor, and it included some kind of seminar-type classes and an internship with the Little Sisters of the Poor in D.C. So I had always done youth ministry, and so I kind of wanted to broaden my horizons and, work with vulnerable populations like the elderly or something like that. So that's why I chose that program. It was really formative for me, absolutely worth all the money I gave them. I loved that program. I loved my professors. So I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with my degree. Youth ministry did seem like the most reasonable, kind of the next step, but I just kind of had this feeling there was going to be more than just specifically working with teens, like at Life Night, like Life Teen and Edge and middle school and high schoolers. But that is what I did a lot when I was first hired here. I was an assistant to our youth minister at the time, and I was also an assistant to our young adult minister. And so that's the way it was for about 2-3 years. And then COVID happened. And at that point,
COVID.
At that point, I had picked up some more responsibility at the wider parish level of doing social media. So I had taken over the parish Facebook. We had started a parish Instagram. We had a parish YouTube. And I was also kind of became the official, unofficial parish photographer. I'm also a portrait photographer on the side.
She's really good.
Oh, thank you. That was a skill I developed in college. I just realized there are different styles of photography. I really have a lot of respect for landscape photographers, architectural photographers. But I realized that my passion was people, which works very well for the church. Very well. They go hand in hand. So Father Bob heard through the grapevine that I was a photographer, and he asked me to take photos for our brand new website. So that put me in a position to work also very closely with our webmaster as well. So all these pieces just kind of put themselves together to kind of put me in this almost a communications kind of role that was not there when I first started. Like I said, I was just an assistant to the youth minister, but over time, Father Bob kind of realized that I had these different skills and gifts to give. So once COVID hit, it really put us in an advantageous position to carry us through the the pandemic and survive and thrive. So
yeah, so we've had quite a lot, and it's due in a huge part to you. With the idea that we've been live streaming a large number of our masses, and Father Hayes, one of our other parochial vicars, has a series on the Mass, and there's just a ton of good information out there that really helped sustain people when they were locked down, when they were afraid to come to church, and really kind of helping people navigate their faith. And I think having that and having a person dedicated to that is kind of unusual in the church world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do think it's unusual, but the more I do it, the more I've kind of embraced my new title and new role as social media coordinator for the parish. I'm realizing how essential it is.
Oh, and I will go to bat for you on this one 100%, because the parish that I was at just before I moved here a couple months ago, I was the social media guy. I had to buy a webcam and set up awkwardly a weird tripod. Like it didn't fit. The camera and the tripod didn't connect to each other. So even today, if you look at it, what I have is one of those black paper clips, one of those black paper things, with 20 or 30 rubber bands kind of attaching the thing into place. It was absolutely jury-rigged. Our audio quality was horrendous. The only thing we had going for us was that we were one of the originals. We were one of the first ones to kind of pop up with a live stream. We did it, the day that they shut everything down. We had something up and running.
Wow.
So we were, I was excited we were one of the first, but man, we were hardly high quality. And when I'm sitting there kind of trying to figure out how to make all these things work, suddenly seeing you do it really effortlessly with a sense of you're photographing our people in action. So people really get a sense of really good shots of what our people are doing.
Yeah.
But that kind of leads us to here, right? That kind of leads us to this moment. It kind of leads us to this podcast. So, what happened? We were in a weird spot. So COVID really sort of changes that, makes you sort of think outside the box. So how did we even get to the point where getting a podcast on the air was a thing?
So, yeah. Like you said, COVID really changed a lot. We did have to get very creative. We put out a lot of videos, a lot of YouTube videos throughout 2020 and into 2021. But the feedback that I got, and thankfully most of the feedback was pretty positive. We have very kind, very generous parishioners, was that people would listen to it while doing other things. So most people would not be sitting in front of their computer watching Allison or our previous priest, Father Vaccaro, or even Father Hayes. They wouldn't necessarily be just sitting there watching the video, but they would have it on in the background while doing other things like cooking dinner, laundry, or working about the house. And so that got me thinking, well, if that's how they're taking in our content, how can we give that to them in a way that's really going to kind of meet their needs of where they're at and what they're doing? And so I love podcasts. I listen to them in the car every day. I'm always doing something else while listening to a podcast and taking it in just as deeply. So that we had the idea for a while to do a podcast. It was kind of always thrown around as something fun to do. We do have a lot of fun personalities in the office. How much would we just as a staff enjoy talking to each other over the air? But then we started thinking about it a little more seriously once the pandemic hit. And so then once Father Bresnahan came on board, I was very inspired because when he first set up his office, he had this microphone and a little sound mixer, and I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like an arm that's coming out of the table, a boom, whatever. And so I looked at that and I was like, oh, here's someone who can help me. It's because I don't know anything about audio and podcasting and all this stuff. So even Father Bob was very impressed with your little setup, and you got the big headphones and everything. So we pitched the idea to Father Bob, and he loved it. I said, we're always trying to think of something new ways to reach people. That's always the goal, is how can we reach more people? How can we engage with more people and do it in a way that just meets people's needs? So God put Father Bresnahan right here at this parish at the perfect time
and
to
Mary
help
Castellano.
me. So yeah, this is so far it's been a really fun kind of partnership between Father and I. I could not have even gotten the microphone in front of my face set up literally without him.
I think we really complement each other well, because maybe in terms of hardware, I might have a little bit of the edge in terms of putting some of these pieces together. But I think at the same time, like my crux and why I hadn't gotten into podcasting before was trying to figure out the software, the editing, the how do I load it up. I didn't even have a concept of how to do that on Spotify. It's a crazy world out there. So having some people who can navigate that a little bit is huge. So really, the two of us really are here to work together to make our parish come alive a little bit. Mm-hmm. I also appreciate the idea that we have a lot of other media. We have a lot of other media platforms, and most of them are visual. So I think the idea of having something audio is huge for us, something that people can tune in, learn, and go from, which is why actually this podcast has a lot coming up. Mary, we're looking forward to interviewing folks across the board. Now we have like 70 missions, 70 ministries or something, like 60 mission ministries.
I know the
we
number.
Have a lot. The number is huge.
Between 50 and 70 different ministries.
That's a lot of stuff, right? That doesn't include like the priests individually, some of our school things, some of the things going on in school. We just have a ton of stuff going on. So trying to figure out how to boil that down into one season of things that you can listen to. Well, I don't even know how we're going to begin to do it, but we're excited because we have so many good people lined up in the first couple of episodes that I think you're really going to love. You're really going to love what we have. One of the things that's so evident when I first got here was our relationship with the country of Haiti. Mm-hmm. That Nativity alone, our parish alone, has built over like several hundred, right? Not several thousand, but several hundred houses.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I do know that we have over a dozen villages.
Yeah, so. Literally whole villages. Like sometimes you're like, we built a house and it wasn't that amazing. We have built whole villages in the country of Haiti. Mm-hmm. And many of them, with the special building that helps make them, hurricane proof and earthquake proof and things like that. So in the middle of all these disasters, a lot of these houses have been actually able to withstand everything because it's a lot more than what they have already. So our parish has had a unique connection with the country of Haiti and doing a lot of outreach and work. And we want to bring you in to some of that incredible story and all of that. So our very first episode, we're going to be talking to Jim McDaniel about that. But we've got other great things coming down the pipe. You'll be able to talk to some of our youth group kids. You'll be able to hear from some of our youth group kids. You'll be able to hear from a number of different people right off the bat who are helping to foster faith, service, who are growing and learning, taking advantage of some of the resources that we have, etc. Like all coming down the pipeline. So we're very excited for you and very excited for what we have in store.
Yeah, we are. We're so grateful to be here, to be like Father said, to offer this to you, and hopefully this helps you engage with your own faith. And if you're here in the Burke, Springfield, Fairfax area, it can help you engage a little more deeply with our parish community. But if you're listening from farther away, hopefully this can inspire you and just help you grow closer to Jesus Christ.
And if they want to kind of stay connected to us, how would they do that?
You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. They all have the same tag. It's at Nativity Parish Burke. And our website is also www.nativityburke.org.
www.nativityburke.org. And you'll find us, we'll be loading up on Spotify and all platforms, right?
As many as I can figure out.
As many as we can figure out. So we will try to be blasting to you from the airways. We'd love to take your feedback. So whenever you get a chance, you can send us an email. We would love to hear from you, and we're grateful. We're grateful for all of that. In the meantime, the number one way that we are going to be able to get noticed and get out there and get this word and this mission kind of off the ground and moving is going to be from your word of mouth. Let people know that we're coming down the pipeline. Stay tuned for our first episode. If you like it, share it, spread it around, because word of mouth is the number one way that that people find out about these kinds of things. So we rely on you for that kind of advancement. So our promise to you is to try to put together a great program for you, something that will inspire you, something that will uplift you, something that will draw you closer to Christ. And all you got to do is share that and spread the word. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. As always, I'm Father Bresnahan.
And I'm Mary Castellano.
Thank you, and God bless you.